Let's take a look to where it all began. The first commercial industrial robot was made in 1961 by Unimation, founded by Joe Engelberger, later known as the father of modern robotics, and his partner, George DeVol, who actually wrote the first patent on robotics that was published that same year. 60 years later, we see robots everywhere. In industry, hospitals, homes, agriculture, construction, automated warehouses, and yes, autonomous vehicles. For us, these are robots. While we should be proud of the wide range of applications where robots are used in, the rate of adoption for 60 years was, in my opinion, too slow. We see here a graph that demonstrates schematically the evolution of the robotics industry over the past 40 years. The great interest in robotics started in the early 80s. Robotics was seen then as the next major technological revolution. People were predicting great future and a great technology to invest in. The prediction for fast growth were contagious. Many companies were created then, including in Israel, but only a few of those survived. The robotics bubble burst after less than 10 years, when the market realized that the technology was not yet ready for the big dreams. Most of the governmental funding dried out, private investors ran out for cover, and basically the entire field entered what's called the nightmare stage. That is typical of the development of most major technologies. The nightmare lasted about 30 years, much longer than in most other technologies. Google's entry into robotics in 2014 by buying 8 companies, including Boston Dynamics, inspired some hopes that things will change for the better. But this didn't happen. The COVID-19 pandemic brought a lot of challenges that accelerated the demand for robotic solutions across the board. The recent advancement in generative AI served as another catalyst for the development of the robotics field. The growing need for robotic solutions in a wide range of applications suggests a high growth rate as reflected in the sharp slope of that graph. What we are witnessing is a technological disruption, which is the result of the convergence of 3 major events. Technological maturity, go no farther than just see what Boston Dynamics is doing. The COVID-19 pandemic that created a lot of unmet needs, and the rapid growth of generative AI that calls for its application in new robot systems. The result is an unprecedented potential for growth. But are we ready for this sharp turn? To answer this question, we should first understand why the robotics field was stagnating for so long. And we can identify several market failures that may be responsible for it. First, that robots are multidisciplinary. You need wide knowledge, you don't always have it. That in itself can slow down the development. It involves hardware and software that makes it harder than just software alone. And as a result, it takes a long time to market because the development process is quite long. As a result, you need large investments to keep a robotics company running, and investors don't like that and they shy away from it. We should overcome these market failures if we want to leverage the potential for growth of the robotics market. Welcome to proactive innovation. It should first systematically overcome market failures. Then it should address the increased needs for robotic solutions. And we mentioned earlier that there are quite a few. And the rising needs should override the grid. Meaning we should stop the paradigm where profitability is the only criterion dictating which problems are being addressed. Hospitals are not profitable, but we do build them. They serve the community. Same should guide us in designing future robots. Robots are not luxuries. They are often crucial life-saving devices. somebody has to build them, even if they are not profitable. And I think that doing good should guide us as roboticists in this field. To overcome some of the market failures, we should first create multidisciplinary R&D centers that they will serve as basically as smart incubators, where they will provide not only real estate, but also technical assistance and guidance. To shorten the time to market, we should think small and simple. We don't need a humanoid for every household task, as some people think. So we should keep it small, simple, and smart. The S cube. This should be our slogan from now on. To scale up the companies that are incubating in the R&D centers, we should set up an industrial park around those centers so that companies that graduate from the centers will settle in and basically eventually create a healthy local ecosystem that will grow with more companies are maturing from these centers. An international collaboration is definitely a must in our times, and I wish that this collaboration will be win-win plus, so the sum or the collaboration actually brings more than the sum of the individual companies. And last but not least, we should educate engineers to have passion for creativity and innovation. And this can be taught and exercised. At our Yale University, we actually take advantage of the final capstone design projects in mechanical engineering and mechatronics to exercise proactive innovation. We have been doing it for about 18 years. We ask students to come up with an idea that is scrutinized by their peers and mentors, and then take it all the way to a working prototype within 2 semesters, which is about 8 months. We encourage the students to look at the needs of weak segments of society. They usually do, and when they do that, they become good engineers and also good people. And this is something I'm very proud of. Now here we see, in these pictures, we see the working environment. On the right, we see the clean room. It's used for lectures, brainstorming, design, electronics. And on the left, we see a small machine shop that is used for light machining and assembly. Now, the university covers all cost, materials, and manufacturing. Every year, we manage to do between 10 to 15 projects. Here we see a portfolio of about 60 projects out of 250 that we did or made over 18 years. Most of them are assisting people. They are for the home, consumer robots. Some of them were developed during the Corona pandemic, and they are quite interesting, in my opinion. After this stage, students usually get a job in the industry. Many of them have families. They need a paying job, and they cannot take a risk with a new startup. So one solution to this is, which we haven't done so far, is to take these prototypes to be further developed in an innovation center like the one I mentioned earlier. To summarize, we're actually living in turbulent times, technologically, geopolitically, economically, that are further compounded by the unprecedented challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. All this translates to a surge in demand for robotics and automation across the board, which is the catalyst of the next major robotic revolution, which is robotics 3.0. It will focus on smart robots. It will be driven by needs and by the integration of AI into robotics. Now, proactive innovation is crucial to overcoming the market failures and to address growing needs arising from the ongoing crisis. This approach of proactive innovation, if we do adapt it, will actually promote the growth of the global robot market. Thanks for listening.